Hello, and welcome back to Tony'sPicks.com. I'm Tony T. Time for an NBA 4-pack. We're going to pick from every game from this NBA playoffs for Sunday with Joseph Schultz. Joseph's been the top unit producer at Tony'sPicks.com for the past 2 years, approaching 6,000 units of profit. Let's bring Joseph in right now. Joseph, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Just finishing watching up the Haney Garcia fight. Very entertaining.
I would expect, especially when the guy drinks the beer right after his weigh-in. So let's go. Here we go. All right, we'll get underway here. 1 Eastern time, game 1 Eastern Conference first round. Heat at Celtics. Celtics 14. Total sits at 209.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch the Celtics play some meaningful basketball. They had the East locked up. They had home court advantage locked up for the last few weeks of the season. And, they were resting guys, still blowing teams out. Just really hard with those big point spreads. But even in this first game of the playoffs, we see another big point spread. Boston's going to want to come out here and send a message. Remember, now, Miami, we talk about revenge spots, right, during the regular season. Miami knocked the Celtics out of the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They jumped on them. They went up 3-0. Boston fought back. They won the next three, but Miami was able to get that seventh and final game to knock them out. Now, Lang, I love what the Celtics have, and I think that they'll represent the East in the finals this year. But this, I'd be super uncomfortable laying a number this big. Miami, we all know they're super scrappy. They're not going to be afraid of the Celtics. They're going to play tough defense. It's the playoffs. The refs are going to let them play tough. They won't be calling ticky-tack fouls, and I think that kind of helps the Heat a little more than the Celtics. The Heat have been able to play the Celtics fairly close during the regular season. I believe the Celtics did win all 3 games, but they only covered in one of those games. I could make a good argument either way. Like I said, statement game for the Celtics. There's no Rozier, no Butler for the Heat. If Boston gets hot from three-pointer, they're going to win. They'll mess around and cover. They'll win by 20 points by accident if they're hitting their three-pointers. But with that said, Boston has had a lot of off time, and maybe they come out and don't shoot as well as they normally do. I was surprised to see this number this big, even without Butler. I'm not going to lie. I will be staying away from this game because, like I said, I can make a good argument for either side. But if I had to bet this game, I think I would go ahead and take the 14 points with the Heat. The reason I really wouldn't be betting this game, though, is because the Heat could come out and play great defense. They could ugly this game up. They could make it tough like they usually do on the Celtics, and everything could be going well for the Heat, and the Celtics will go on a spurt or two, a couple runs. They'll make 3 or 4 or 5 3-pointers in a row, and before you know it, they'll be up 16, 17, 18 points. With that said, if I had to bet this game, I think I take the 14 points with this well-coached, scrappy Miami Heat team. A lot of veterans, a lot of guys that have been there before. They were in the finals last year, and I think you just hold your breath and hope for the best.
All right. Joseph Schultz, click the link below for his best bets. Heat and Celtics game 1. It's the Heat here at plus the 14. All right, guys. Be sure to click the link in the description. Get on over to Joseph's handicapper page. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout. You'll save 20% off all this premium pick packages on the site. All right, let's go. Let's continue on here with the next game here on the board. And it will be Mavericks and Clippers. Mavericks 2.5-point favorites on the road. Total 223.
Right. So my level of confidence on this game is much higher. So I'm on the Mavs here. I think they have a puncher's chance to win this series. I think they're a possible dark horse team coming out of the West. That doesn't necessarily mean I think that they will come out of the West. But I think at the odds that they're given, I don't think it's a bad bet, put it that way. Now, Kawhi is questionable. The Mavs are going to need this game if they're going to be able to win this series, especially if Kawhi doesn't play, and even if he plays, but he's not 100%. Now, the Mavs have been playing well. They did drop their last 2 games, but obviously, they were resting those last two games. They didn't really take it serious. But before that, they had won 5 straight. They had won 7 out of their last 8. They covered in 5 straight, and they covered in 7 out of their last 8 games. They've been good on the road this year. Besides that last game against OKC, again, when they were resting, they had won 7 out of their last 8 road games and covered in 6 out of those 7 wins. The Clippers, they haven't played this version of the Mavs yet, so you kind of could throw the season series out the window. Last time they played was December 20th. That was well before the Mavs had made those upgrades. They added Daniel Gafford, which I absolutely loved, PJ Washington. Because they added Gafford, they were able to move Lively to the bench, giving them more depth. Completely different team. I have a high level of confidence in this pick. I gave it out to the clients days ago at -1. I believe it's climbed to like -2.5. I agree with the line movement. I'm riding with the Mavs in game 1.
All right, Joseph Schultz, click the link below for his premium picks. Mavericks Clippers, the pick here, Mavericks at -2.5. All right, let's continue here on our NBA 4-pack here. A pick from all games from the NBA playoffs on Sunday. Let's get ready here for the next game here on the board. Pacers and Bucks. Pacers a point on the road, total 231.5.
Right, so I don't have a ton of statistics I'm going to throw at you for this one. Just kind of a gut feel. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like this one. Everyone's riding with the Pacers. I'm actually on the Bucks here. Indy's a really young team. A lot of guys that haven't been there. They lack playoff experience. I think Tyrese Halliburton, as much as I like him, he hasn't faced this level of physicality that he will, in the playoffs. Now, the Pacers did go 4-1 against the Bucks this season. Milwaukee must have saw something in this matchup that they liked, because they tanked at the end of the season to get this matchup. They could have got a higher seed. In that last stretch, they lost games to Washington, Memphis, even Toronto. So, it was clearly strategic. I know that the basketball gods, as I like to say, they don't usually reward things like that. But, again, they saw something they liked in this matchup. Obviously, Giannis probably doesn't play in this game. And, again, I know it's going to be unpopular. Indy, they haven't been great on the road this year. I think this will be a slow down defensive game. I am aware that the Pacers, while they have that offensive reputation, they can play some defense. And while the Bucks have a reputation where they don't play defense, they are capable. They have guys like Portis, Beasley. Everyone knows Patrick Beverley can be an irritant. And I think those guys can do enough, make this game a little ugly, little lower scoring than people are expecting. I know Dame's going through some personal things right now, divorce and all that, but he seems like the type of guy where the basketball court is like his reprieve. So, I know Halliburton's an up-and-coming player, but Dame probably going to end up being the best player in the series when Giannis isn't on the court. So they still have top-level talent. The Bucks are one of the best home teams in the league. They went 31-11 this year at home. They need this game so that Giannis can rest for game 2. If they lose game 1, they probably have to rush him back, and I know they probably don't want to do that. I think Indy comes out a little bit like deer in headlights, maybe, at least in the first quarter, maybe the first half. I think the Bucks shocked the world. Going with the Bucks on the money line for the plus money.
All right, Joseph Schultz, click the link below for his best bets. Pacer and Bucks. The pick here will be the Bucks here at +1, +1.5. Do your line shopping, get the best number. All right, let's continue here on our NBA 4-pack here with Joseph Schultz as we get ready here for the next game here on the board to wrap up the Sunday action here at night with the Pelicans and Thunder 8.5 with the total 214.5.
Okay, so the road team has won the last 7 matchups in this series. For whatever that's worth, we know that OKC, they're not like your typical 1 seed. They're super young. They got the young superstar, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They did a great job in the regular season. Kind of seemed like at the end they were kind of trying to duck the number 1 seed and just kind of ended up getting it because Denver had a little lapse at the end there, Minnesota. So they end up getting it. I don't know how happy they were to get it, to be honest with you. I think the Pelicans have some matchup advantages in this matchup. They have multiple perimeter defenders to throw at SGA. Valanciunas is gonna be tough for Chet to handle in the paint and on the boards. I think he's gonna just be able to manhandle him a little bit. I'm leaning towards the Pelicans in this matchup. Obviously, it'll be tough without Zion. To be honest, if Zion was playing in this series, I would absolutely love the Pelicans to win this series. Game to game, not quite sure, but for the series, I would absolutely love them. I think 8.5 is just too much. The Thunder haven't been there yet. They were ATS darling last year. They made the big leap, and I think they make a big leap again next year. I think next year is maybe the year that they're a true contender. I don't want to say that they'd be just happy to be there because they got some dogs on that team. But I just think it being their first year, being the number 1 seed, against a team like the Pelicans, like I said, they got those defenders. They're scrappy. They got scorers. CJ McCollum is gonna be tough. They have some matchup advantages, and just 8 points is way too much. So even if OKC wins this game, I don't see them winning by double digits. So, you have, if you grab the points with the Pelicans, I think you're putting yourself in a pretty good position, and that's what I would do.
All right, Joseph Schultz here with Pelicans and Thunder. Pelicans plus the 8.5. All right, we got through our 4-pack here from the NBA Plus for Sunday. So now it's time to turn our attention over to Tony'sPicks.com, where we'll take a look here at Joseph, top unit producer at Tony'sPicks.com for 2023 and 2024. We combined those units, 5,935 units of prop for nearly for fantastic results here from Joseph. All right, Joseph, we got these 4 NBA playoff games. We have a 16-game card here from Major League Baseball, 4 on the ice as well. What do you have going on over at Tony's Picks?
Right, so I'm going to have a best bet for tomorrow for the reduced price of $15 with the profit guarantee as always. Going to have an NBA 3-pack, but I do want to talk just really quickly about the value of getting something like even just like a 3-pack or the week-long packages, because a lot of times I will put out a pick a couple days before the day of the game, and almost always we have good closing line value. For instance, a couple days ago, I put my clients onto the Dallas Mavericks at a near pick'em, and now it's -2.5. I still like them at -2.5, but those points could mean the difference between a win and a loss. So I do urge people to, not only for the sake of the value per pick, but just for the value of getting good closing line value and getting on the best number for these games. So I do urge you guys to get yourself a package. Start with a 3-day if you haven't done it before. And those of you that have been with me before, just grab the whole year if you can do it.
That's right, guys. Got to vote with Joseph Schultz over at Tony'sPicks.com. Again, look at the number 1 unit producer at Tony'sPicks.com for the past 2 years. I don't know if you're going to see numbers like this from any of those multi-capper sites. Been on fire here. 5,935 units of profit. 2023, 2024 unit leader for both years. So get on board with Joseph. Click the link in the description. You'll land right on his handicapper page. Go ahead and get signed up to his long-term passes. If it's in your budget, the 1-year pass is in there. He handicaps year-round on the major sports. So get on board here. Remember, the 1-month pass will cover you the first 2 rounds of the NBA playoffs, as well as all that baseball in there. If he's in action hockey, that's in there as well. So go ahead and get signed up. Promo code TonyT at checkout will save you 20% off. That's 20% off. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout. Access Joseph Page. Again, click the link in the description. You'll end right here. Go ahead and get signed up. All right, Joseph, as always, great having you on the show. Continue that great success, and we'll catch up with you again tomorrow.
All right, Tony. See you tomorrow.
Got it. For Joseph, I'm Tony T. We'll talk tomorrow.